Prim here again, welcome back. So in today's video I'm going to be sharing with you guys the new mum tag. A lot of channel mum vloggers have kind of done their take on this, and I thought it would be really nice to kind of share my version and go through the questions. I've got them listed here, so I'll kind of be looking down and answering them as we go, but it's just going to be a quick fire session and I'm just going to whiz through them. So let's go. Favourite mum hack. Okay, so this one probably relates to mummies and parenting when your child is sort of 0 to 12 months. I loved the short sleeve bodies, but I always used to try and take it off my little one's head and he hated it, and then I realised that they've got the little cuts here and it just meant that I could like shimmy it down the shoulders. But it's particularly handy when you go through the phase where babies are weaning and they are having poo explosions and it's all up their back. So instead of worrying about getting it in their hair, you just shimmy it all down their body. Most embarrassing mum moment. Okay, I have to say breastfeeding and moments where 1 minute babies latched on, they're doing what they're doing and then they turn away as they start to develop awareness of sound and other things that are happening, and then you just have a spray going out everywhere. That's probably my most embarrassing mum moments, when that would happen sort of in front of family members. And as much as I had a muslin or a breastfeeding apron on, my little one was quite nosy, so he'd kind of poke out and then everything is out. But yeah, we got through it. What part of the day do you love the most? So I have to say, I think bedtime is probably my favourite time, because our little one is at the toddler stage now and he's very boisterous, but around bedtime he's more willing to have a little cuddle, read a book, say a prayer, and it's much more of a sweeter, calmer time, so I enjoy that a lot more. What part of the day do you like the least? So I have to say, at the moment we're going through a fussy eater stage, so meal times are probably the least fun times for us, just because there's a lot of trying to motivate and encourage him to maybe do and try things that he doesn't necessarily like, but we have to stick it out on both ends and it's just a bit drawn out sometimes. So yeah, it's not my favourite part of the day. The worst thing someone said to you when you were pregnant, right? I think people said a lot of things, but to be honest, I had a really good experience. I did look hideous towards the end, but I think people were really nice to me, so I didn't have anything that was too scary. Even the advice about pain or anything or what to expect, it wasn't too horrific or out of this world. Baby name you didn't agree on. So I have to say, my other half didn't really agree on names that were quite popular at the time. You had things like Ollie and Alfie, and I was quite keen on having a name like that, but he just wasn't really interested, so I had to let that one go. Do you co-sleep? Yes, we co-sleep, and we are kind of big fans. I've done a couple of videos on my channel about co-sleeping and the benefits, and if it's done correctly, how it can work out. Our little child does have like his own bed, his own area to sleep, but it just kind of means a more settled night with him sleeping. And actually, that's him knocking at the door, so I'm going to just go and get him able to see you. Say hi! Say hi! Say hi! Say hi, friends!
Cheese.
Say hi, friends!
Cheese.
Cheese! Say cheese! Say cheese! Say cheese! Say cheese!
Say cheese.
Say cheese. So Riley's going to join us for this part. So the next question, something you bought but never used. We had a few baby carriers that he just didn't take to, and we tried to carry him and tried the wrap options as well a couple of times, but he just wasn't interested. So I think if we had to have another child, that's something that we probably wouldn't really bother with. Although most kids are different. By the way, don't mind the faffing, he's just getting all his toys out. He's got a little toy area in our room and he's just having a little tinker. 3 hospital bag essentials and must-haves. So the first one is definitely the right type of padding, underwear, and sanitary towels. I'm going to count that as one, but it just depends on what you prefer. You can have some pull-up underwear, or you can have cotton underwear and then have nice big pads and things, but I think it is really essential to make sure you've got that covered. Second is obviously baby's first outfit. It has to be like a really nice sweet one that you're happy with, and one that, you know, you can do photography with. I found that with our hospitals, and this is probably across the UK, there's a company called Bounty that come in to take photography the next day after the baby's born. So it's always nice to kind of have like a little cute outfit that you can have them in. And last but not least is also the formula backup, just in case the latch process doesn't happen as quickly as you're expecting with the baby. Then you've got a backup, and it just reduces that anxiety. So some form of stage 1 first stage milk, newborn baby milk, just make sure you've got that, and you know, a bottle that you'd be happy to use for baby. And I think, are you a routine mum or a go with the flow, and what does bedtime look like? So I'm definitely a mix between the two. I try and have some structure, but bedtime is definitely directed by what the day's been like and how little one's feeling. So there definitely is a limit. We try and get Riley down to bed latest by 9 o'clock. We found that when we tried to get him down to bed at 7, he would wake up at 4 AM on the trot. However, if he's kind of upstairs for about 8 o'clock and out cold for about 8:30, 9, then he's perfectly fine to be up the next day at 7:30. So that works out for us. He definitely does sort of a 10 to 11 hour sleep, so that's our best option there. What type of labour did you have? What pain relief did you choose? So I like to think that I had a really pleasant labour in comparison to some of the stories I've heard of friends and their experiences and kind of how they view labour, having gone through their first experience. I had a really nice support structure. So my husband was my birth partner along with my eldest sister, which was quite nice. In hindsight, if we're going to have future children, it will definitely just be me and him. Just as the first time, I think also I just wasn't too sure how we were going to balance it out. He's a really, really quiet character, and I just felt like he was probably going to be so quiet and stumped by it all, but actually he came through and was just such a trooper and so supportive. And then I also had my midwife, so it was a midwife-led unit, and a trainee student that was on hand to support us with the delivery. So it happened within 24 hours. I probably started to feel discomfort around 2 AM, waters broke 5 AM, went into hospital and got sent home for about 9 o'clock, went back in for early afternoon, stayed in, was going through contractions throughout the day, and actually throughout the day I had no pain relief. Did try the TENS machine a little bit, and then got to the point where I was now in the delivery suite. And I was continually using things like having a shower to kind of relieve myself and give myself that comfort. But yeah, it was just gas and air, and I was probably in active labour from about that 9 PM and then had the delivery at 2:45, 3 the next day, so 2:44 to be exact. But yeah, it was a really positive experience, and gas and air worked like a treat. So have you ever been mum shamed?
Oh,
can you hear him saying subscribe? Riley, careful. Yes, I have been mum shamed, and I think I've been mum shamed about different things. The length of breastfeeding initially, so we decided to breastfeed for a year, but some people were saying that's too long, so that was my first experience of being mum shamed. And then second of all, we have the bottle, so Riley is now at 2.5, and he still uses a bottle for comfort, and it's something that we're working on in terms of sippy cups. So at nursery he's quite confident, he's fine, but at home it's kind of like a comfort, a bit like a dummy or a teddy. So you have some comments about that, and oh, he's far too old. And then the next stage that we're kind of getting into is also the potty training. Oh, he's far too old, you know. But I actually think that everything is gradual with children, and they're all very different, where I've seen areas of him advancing and being further ahead than his peers, and then in some areas it's just taking a little bit longer. But I myself have realised that through experiencing mum shaming, I'm a lot more considerate about the comments I make about people's parenting choices and what they're doing. So I am, yeah, much more mindful because of what I have experienced. The biggest challenges you face as becoming a mum is definitely kind of bridging the gap between your career and your family life. It's not that easy, and some people have a lot to say about whether you choose to work or whether you choose to stay at home. So I always find that quite challenging. The biggest bit of advice you've ever been given, biggest piece of advice you'd give to a new mum. Right, so that one is really, really happy, because then I can't really think of anything that people have said that I've kind of held on to, except to kind of do your best to make the journey your own and don't compare with what's happening. Although in saying that, it's only natural to think, oh, my friend's child's walking, mine isn't, my friend's child's talking, mine isn't. So I think that's definitely something that I continue to battle with, but I would give advice to people that you're going to save yourself so much heartache and just energy by not even worrying about that. So yeah, just don't worry, don't compare, just stay in your own parenting lane. Okay, and finally it says, who's your mum crush and who do you tag?
Baby feet.
Okay, I've got a few mum crushes, and actually I'm going to list them down below, so check out their channels. And I hope you guys enjoyed my little sharing, and let me know if you've got some similar scenarios and experiences, especially about shaming and advice. Pop them down in the comments below. Until the next video, guys, thanks so much for watching. You can probably hear my little assistant and his music. He loves featuring in these videos these days. Crazy. Alright then, guys, take care. Bye.
Don't know if you got a girl, don't mean to disrespect, but I'll tell you,